Hello there, you are listening to The Screen Queen, where you'll be finding your favorite movie or your favorite television show and learning something new. You'll just have to listen to find out. Here is your host, Samantha Parrish. It was a big question to wonder, what is going to happen with this Michael Jackson movie? I had wondered for years if they're ever really going to do it, because who would you cast? When you look at the history of Michael Jackson in the 70s, 80s, and then after his skin changed, it wasn't going to look easy about what route that was going to have to take. And mostly Michael Jackson has kind of lived in parody, and there's just been people closely that resemble him, or they kind of parody him in the whole fiasco. So that's kind of the way I've always seen Michael Jackson portrayals until now. And I gotta say, I am very impressed by what they're doing. There's already talk of a sequel, guys, which means they're finally gonna pay back this stuff. Oh Lord, there's a whole bunch of stuff to get into with the Jackson family, but talking about the movie is so phenomenally amazing, and I haven't even seen it yet. Just the trailer alone, from what we've seen, it does feel like there's a good chance we might actually get a decent Michael Jackson adaptation. Now, not many people know this, but this is one of the biotopics that I have been looking forward to for years, and it's not just because I'm a slut for biotopics. Michael Jackson is one of my favorite artists, and when I was going through leukemia as a very little girl, I always listened to his music. I had no idea who he was, and there was also a joke made that I was called the White Michael, which years later I'm like, wait a minute, isn't... Anyway. Oh man. So when the news finally broke out that they're finally gonna do it, I thought it was, end of the line. But when you call it Michael and you show Beat It and Thriller, and it looks and is exactly where they did Thriller and exactly what they did for Beat It, it's like there's more good things it's given me. It's like the promise of a relationship. It's like, wait a minute, the more I hope, the more it's not good. What are you doing to me, Michael? What are you doing? I am not going to be okay. I'll never even know if Annie was going to be okay. Lord. But the man playing Michael, I have to say, that is probably the way to do it, to get family to play Michael. When it comes to portraying Michael Jackson, the big question is, well, what are you going to do about the vitiligo? There's the Jacksons, and then there's the post-surgeries and everything. And when his skin went from black to white, and that was, the biggest question. Oh, why'd you want to change your skin? Well, men didn't have a choice when you have vitiligo. It's not pretty, and it happened to one of our most famous people that, had to live with being a completely different skin color without, the choice. It just happened. And then, his father one day, no help, telling him that his body was imperfect, which led to all the plastic surgeries. So with all the work Michael's done, how do you portray that work without making it look like Nicolas Cage in Long Legs with all the prosthetics and everything? It would have been a giant mess. There has been multiple races that has played Michael Jackson, but it has existed in whatever moment of time someone wanted to recreate or parody, and that's what we've had so far. But having to create his entire life and include the vitiligo and the abuse and everything, the whole can of worms that we're about to dish out again, phew, man, it was going to be hard wondering how you're going to watch the performer if it's not someone that either doesn't look like Michael Jackson or they're covered in so much prosthetics from having to recreate his face. To wonder, who would you get? Because obviously you have to have someone African American play Michael Jackson, but then if you're going to put prosthetics on somebody, that can go one way or another, and it can be good or it can be, long legs. And we don't really want that for Michael Jackson's portrayal. No. Seeing that it's family, there's not having to be a big worry on how are you going to recreate some of his facial features that is not the person, because you can only get lucky once in a while where you have someone that looks, 75 to 95% closest, but family that is like, that's free. That's like a free look. It's still too early to say what will happen when the part of his history comes up with the vitiligo and how that'll be portrayed, but for the most part, at least it's safe for right now. Way that Michael's face is before and after the skin change and even the plastic surgeries, you never know what type of Michael Jackson you're going to portray, and if it's going to be, the way I want to phrase it is accurate but not racist, because of the way that this is an African-American pop star, and then having to change someone's skin tone, it never really ends well. And how that can come across and what it could look like. It could look embarrassing, it could look controversial, it could look messy. If it's family though, then you already have those prosthetics and it still isn't gonna make it look weird because someone who already has those Jackson genes. Jafar Jackson playing Michael is just a great out of the park. I was like, oh no, but at the same time, Ice Cube's son played him for the Straight Outta Compton movie. And there's been others that have played their very famous fathers or uncles. But this is kind of a nice tribute that Michael Jackson's nephew is the one to play him. That is an honor and quite the weight. But from what I see, he looks like he can be a pretty good smooth criminal, I'm saying. It is just checking off all the things that I would worry wouldn't be there for the movie, and Jafar Jackson really is emanating his uncle's moonwalk to bring this to life. It feels like an honor as well as it feels like a appropriation to it all. But another thing that I found out about this movie, and I'm not really too surprised to hear about the news, that Paris Jackson and Janet Jackson have refused to have any part of the movie. When I read through the cast list on IMDb, they have a whole lot of names. Diana Ross is one of them, but not Paris and not Janet. There is no presentation of them for their own reason of their refusal to be part of the movie, which I'm not in their shoes. I can't speak for them. But I remember 2009. I remember running into my mother's room and telling her Michael Jackson died. It hit everybody. So of course it hit that family hard, and after that, that's when the news spilled out that Jacksons were craving money. It was an ugly summer in 2009, and Paris and Janet were like smack dab in the middle of all that crap and having to heal in a very hard way over the years that they didn't have to go through. Lord, I hope that they get all the peace that they can get for what they have endured and what they've been through. So for them to refuse, I feel it is their choice, and it should just be left alone to their choice. I'm sure they'll give their feelings after the movie comes out, but not everything has to be the details of Michael Jackson's life, and some people just would rather to be known as the cliff note than be a real note, because you never know how that's really going to be pursued through, and if the message is missed or miffed, you never really know how the dice rolls in a biotopic with real people's names. So it's decisions that have been made for this movie, for what it looks like, appear to be respectful in its presentation for being something that we've always wondered to just see the King of Pop one more time. And that's what I felt from the trailer, to be honest. This is another way to kind of get the feelings again. I was too young to know who Michael Jackson was in the 80s, because again, I was in the hospital having leukemia done. And I didn't know who he was in the 90s until much older, and I only knew of him through the trial. So to experience the Michael history through the Jackson family, presented in a way that's really great in its direction. And also, speaking of that, the director in charge of this, I feel really seals the deal. I saw it was Antoine Fuqua. I don't know if I got his name right. Correct me if I'm wrong. But He's one of my favorite directors because he has done one of my favorite films, Four Brothers. So I saw that and I'm like, go ahead, take my money. I don't even know what kind of money I'm going to make in the future, but I already know it's not going to exist in my pocket. It's going to exist in the movie theater. I cannot wait to see this movie. The irony is that it falls about 2 days before my 31st birthday. So as a birthday present to myself, I'm taking my family to go see it, to see the person that I might not have known as a child, but the music helped me get through all of that stuff as a kid. I don't remember much about leukemia, but I'll tell you one thing. I remember marching to Michael Jackson in the fucking nightgowns and trying to mimic what the dance moves were. And yeah, I think I definitely earned the title of White Michael, as much as that's not a great name, but you know, I'm sure Michael would have been okay with that if he saw this little bald twerp dancing to his music. Anyway. So those are my thoughts on the Michael movie. I'd love to know your thoughts about it, Screenies. Feel free to hit me up at the Queen of the Screen and stay tuned for the birthday episode near the end of the month. Thank you for listening. This is your Screen Queen, signing off. Bye-bye!